Okay, let's go, says Jeff. So that's what we'll do. Diktaturen with you. We have another SRL race. My voice is a little bit off today because I'm not feeling too well, so I hope you'll manage to stick through it anyway. We are in Austria. I've done one qualifying run before here, so I put a 1:04.369 as you can see in the top right, but it's not gonna get us anywhere. We have to improve, as we can see Alexander setting a 1:03.6 fastest lap, and I'm sure those laps will improve by the end of the session because, as you know, the longer you're in the qualifying session, the track is gonna get warmer, and you're just gonna get another level of traction throughout the corners. So going out and setting laps here is mostly for preparing, because it's the last qualifying run where you need to put it through, but you never know what's gonna happen. You might invalidate, you might extend right on the exit, so you can't put through any laps. So it's quite complicated to get it right here, and I just feel like I have a lot of more pace in me even right now, so I can set a lap that might put me in a top 10 position, which would be nice. So we are setting ourselves up now for my first qualifying run in this second little stint, and it's important we get a good exit through here, but we aren't getting a nice exit. We are, it's not horrible of course, but there's a lot more time to gain on this start-finish straight. But throughout the second corner I felt like I had a good exit, but looking at the delta, I'm just losing time. But there's still a lot of time to get, because in the last couple of corners in my first session I just backed off because I didn't like my time. So I'm definitely gonna improve if I keep this up. This delta would likely be a 1:03 eventually, considering the time that I lost in my first session. So we are really putting ourselves through this lap right here, and it's important we get these sections right, and I'm completely nailing this, really gaining time and putting a purple middle sector, so we know we have a really solid time on here. We have a car up ahead. It's Psycho who is blocking us. We are getting a little bit of dirty air, rendering us going wide, and on the start-finish straight we are still in his dirty air. He is completely blatantly blocking us there, so I'm furious. I have a second lap here, but he is in front of us, so I can't do anything about it. I'm fuming right now. So cutting the video right here, but I went in front of him and did a little brake check just to signal to him, you know what, pay attention. No damage to each car, we didn't touch each other. It was more of a, you know what, get your head into this game. It's been here 2 times, and 2 times it's been something. But nonetheless, it wasn't the last qualifying run, so we are on our last run now, last stint. We have to get everything right. So turn 1, we are really putting ourselves in a good position, gaining immediately, but now the delta is dropping. I changed a little bit with the tire pressures, so I'm not as fast on the straights, but I'm gonna have the traction throughout the corners. Braking a little bit too early into turn 3, should be called turn 2 by the way. So I'm losing a little bit of time, but we all know I have a lot of time to get. So coming around here, really important I stay off the curb on the exits, and I'm a little bit touching it, so I'm losing the time on the delta. Still in the middle sector where I have a lot of time to gain, but I'm just not confident in the car anymore. What happened before put me off a little bit, so I'm gonna gain here. We know that. So it's important we get these last 2 corners right. We are definitely on the right one there, really on plus and delta, but we're extending on that last turn, which is the last thing you want to do, because now my lap is invalidated for this one as well. Looking at fuel, 1:40 left. I won't be able to make another run unless I can fuel save up to the next one. So I'm doing everything in my power to not be on the throttle and just roll through every corner, but right here I noticed that I'm just losing fuel. I won't be able to get another lap in, which is very unfortunate. So I'm just gonna go inside, gonna ride the curve there a little bit. But I'm in a position now where I was on a really nice lap but behind Psycho in the end in P14. Not too happy. I had more time to gain, a lot of more time to gain. I think that run I was on would be 1:03.9 or something like that, because I never really gained. But nonetheless, we're into the race. We had a little bit of a struggle with the lobby, so we had to do a restart with a custom grid. But looking right now, like, everything is good to go. So we're gonna start the formation lap and get some heat into our tires, because we really need them to be on temp when the race is about to start, because we don't want to lose a lot of positions. Austria turn 1 is known to be somewhat of a deadly turn 1, and especially in the race. It's a league race, so hopefully people will be careful not to put anyone out, but we're gonna see how it goes. Preparing for the race start now. 3 lights, 4 lights, and we have 5 lights. And away we go, getting a pretty decent launch for once, as we're coming up towards turn 1. Hopefully won't be too much carnage. Behind Metal Machine and Psycho, we have Papa Warbear coming to our right. Blue Monkey spins, and Noel is stuck behind Tixie. It's a turn 1 worth to remember. And we seem to have our teammate Dynamite just behind, starting from last position, so he got a very nice launch. And now coming into turn 3 with the Alfa Romeo holding the inside. We are fighting with Papa Warbear, leaving him a lot of space on the outside, but he's not getting the exit he wants to. I am struggling a little bit there with the exit as well, but we are eventually up into P11 with Bubbles, Psycho, Metal Machine and Skillers up ahead fighting. And Psycho going wide, Bubbles taking that position and saying thank you very much. So Psycho up ahead now. On our bottom right, you can see that the fuel load is minus 0.5 laps. It's gonna be way more than enough. I should have underfueled a lot more, because when you're in the rain, the fuel will not burn in the same pace, because you're lifting a lot earlier, you're braking a lot harder, and you're not just on the throttle as much as you would be on a dry lap. So first lap completed up into P11. We gained some positions, but it's a rain race, so anything can happen. I am deadly counting on a safety car. Psycho is overtaking Bubbles on the outside of the track. Regardless, now Bubbles up ahead. Very good driver here. He is very clean as well, so I can't take anything away from him. Papa Warbear looking a little bit inside there, but it's not on. We are all basically half a second between us. Skipping forward by the end of lap 2, still in the same position, nothing really has happened. But like I said, it's a rain race. You won't know what's gonna happen. So onto lap 3, I am feeling the move on Bubbles here as I am burning my ERS. Getting closer and closer and closer. Is it on? Yes, he's gonna defend. I'm taking the outside line, leaving him space on the inside, and I am really putting myself through that outside line and gaining a lot of time. I guess Bubbles struggled a little bit with his exit, but we're gonna take that. Good driving from both of us, I think. So Psycho up ahead. He is fast, don't get me wrong. I need to be able to stick with him here, as even though DRS is off, Slipstream is always gonna be on, and you have to be within, I think, 0.65 seconds for Slipstream to count, which isn't really realistic. Still behind Psycho by lap 6, and looking like they're gonna fight a little bit up ahead. We have Bubbles behind, not really threatening us right now. Psycho is going for the inside on Metal Machine. Is he gonna make it stick? He pushes Metal Machine a little bit wide, but it looks clean so far. And the safety car is coming up. Alexander is in the wall. Unfortunate for him, really quick driver. But it's a rain race, so things like that is bound to happen regardless of your skill, unfortunately. So we have a little bit of a choice to make, as we have a safety car and my tires are on 14%. My rears are struggling a little bit. I I'm choosing not to pit, but I know some guys pitted. Noel pitted and my teammate pitted as well because he put himself a little bit far back, so he didn't really see a point in not pitting right here. I'm choosing to stay out, and I just want to see how this race goes and not put myself in a position where I'm out of the race because I lack some pace. So I have to do something strategy-wise to make sure that I'm going to be able to stay ahead. We have a little bit of an incident coming up though. Safety car is coming in, so we're putting ourselves through to make the restart happen. I'm really putting some heat into my tires. We get this prepared to resume racing. I felt like everyone was speeding up, so I'm just not really in the position there, and really trying to make Metal Machine to go past me, but he is not going past me, and I don't know what happened if he didn't want to re-overtake me there. So I'm choosing to stay ahead. He's looking on my inside there. I want to let him go, but he's also now so far back, so if I let him go, I'm gonna lose a bunch of positions. Skiller, Psycho up ahead, and I just want to try and leave myself out of contact. Psycho breaks a little bit early, so pushing him, not getting any damage though. Metal Machine is right on the rear now though, so I'm gonna let him go into this corner. But anyway, what I felt happened there was simply that I had to avoid contact with Psycho, so I had to go to the right of him, and suddenly I was far up ahead, so I had to release Psycho, but I was in such an awkward position. So if I would have gone to a full stop, that would have made Metal Machine go past me. But I went slow enough, I felt like, there for him to just sweep past me and follow Psycho in. But I can also understand from his perspective then what is Diktaturen doing, you know. So that's probably gonna leave me with a penalty, even though I let Metal Machine go there. I did overtake under yellow flag, so we'll see what happens. I hope that the stewards will at least take into account the fact that I let him go. So yeah, but it's unfortunate, but I shouldn't have gambled on that race is about to start. I was really desperate to get a good exit and follow through with Metal Machine, but that didn't happen obviously, so I messed up his run. But yeah, whatever. We have another safety car quite immediately after the last one ended, so most of the guys now are looking to pit, but I'm choosing to stay out here and really gambling right now on that there won't be another, like, if there will be another safety car, of course that's gonna be favorable for me, but in these conditions I noticed that when I went slower, my tires were just, like, they were hurting more when I was going slow, and I was getting a lot more of wear on them. So, but I'm really gambling on that the cars behind me now, Noel, Hib and Dynamite, who pitted in the first safety car, that they are also on a little bit of an old tire by now, and that maybe we are on equal pace, because the guy with the fresh tires behind them, they're gonna overtake Dynamite, Hib and Noel, which isn't the easiest without DRS. Noel is a super quick driver, so I'm just expecting him to fly past me at some point, but I might have made an incredible decision. Restart the race, and we are going, but we're almost losing the car on the exit, but we're still a far bit ahead of Noel, who didn't really follow us on the restart. So into turn 1 we go in the lead of this Grand Prix. We're gonna take you through this lap. Noel is quick behind us, a big gap to Hib behind him though. Noel is looking for the overtake right here. I would have released him if he went for it, because there's no point in fighting him. He's gonna get past me eventually. But looking like it when I'm looking back, he's also struggling on the exits. So it got me thinking, I might win this Grand Prix if I just manage to defend well. And that's not really taking into account how my tire wear will be by the end of the race, but as I've said, Noel also put in a few laps on his, so we might be quite equal on them, and there's a point where the intermediate tires are a little bit better when they are worn, at least in my opinion. So around the 20% margin, for me the Inters are at their best stage, and I am currently around there, while Noel is probably on a little bit of a fresher stint right now. So we're still holding him back behind us 4 tenths, and there's almost a second gap, more than a second gap right now back to him. So I'm pretty sure Noel wants to go for the overtake while he can, because that's just gonna put him far up ahead. But I'm not having it anymore. I'm gonna race with him, and on lap 16, almost half of this Grand Prix done. He is still behind us. We're struggling a little bit on the exit, but looking back at Noel, so is he, so we're gonna see where it's gonna put us eventually. Up into lap 18, Jeff really wants me to pit by now, but if there was a stay out button, I would have pressed it. Noel this time though is almost right at our gearbox. So into turn 1 we go. He is feeling the overtake a little bit, but he's backing off sensibly from him, I think. He's definitely gonna give it a go here into turn 3. We are gonna take the inside line because I'm not interested in fighting anymore. As you can see, he can just outbrake me and take my line without any issues, while I am struggling a lot with his 40% tires. So we're gonna try to stick with Noel. It's gonna be mission impossible, but yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. We have a Hib behind who gained a little bit now, 7 tenths, a second back to Lil Tango. This race is looking extremely good for us right now. I'm not sure if I would like another safety car or not, because another safety car, it would make sure that I get 3 laps in without overtaking, but I felt my tires were just losing grip for every safety car round, simply because of the wear was just bigger than I expected sitting behind a safety car. But nonetheless, Noel is now outside of a second to us. He is probably gonna pull this home unless he makes a mistake. We are in P2, Hib in P3, we have Lil Tango in P4 and the Flying Finn Naresteia in P5. Skipping to lap 29, we're still up ahead, and there's been a little bit of change of action behind. Lil Tango overtook Hib and Emso overtook Naresteia. And Hib and Emso with 3-second penalties, so I'm not really worried about them right now. But we have Lil Tango, who is a very quick driver as well, just behind of us. And I am, in my mind, realizing that I'm not gonna make a P2, but I am aiming to get the podium in. So we still have a little bit of an uncertainty with the incident with Metal Machine under the safety car. So that is gonna be interesting to see what's gonna come out of that. I'm probably gonna get a penalty, so this might not be net P2. But Lil Tango is going for the move on my inside, doing the same as with Noel. Not really gonna bother too much, gonna let him have his line. And we are into P3. Lil Tango is probably also gonna just drift away into the future. So we're gonna settle in a little bit of an outbraking, but we managed to hold it in and not touch Lil Tango. If you look on the minimap, you can see that I've been holding a lot of cars up. Noel is doing a regular pace, or a quick pace, let's just say that, but the pace you will hold on the good tires. Lil Tango, I'm sure, will gain a little bit on him eventually, but my job right now is not to think too much about that. My only job right now is to make sure that we keep Hib and Emso behind us for as long as possible. And coming into lap 33, we still have Hib and Emso behind. Lil Tango hasn't really pushed through, he's kind of keeping the pace as Noel has. But now we are struggling a little bit. Hib is looking for the overtake. I'm gonna take the inside line this time and hopefully make it stick. I am struggling a lot with the car. Hib is just touching us on his exit and going wide as a result from that. Not really speeding out completely, but losing a bunch of position, but there's nothing I can do about that. I think I was in my line, even though I got a little bit oversteer moments. It's not my fault that that happened, in my opinion. So now Emso is behind us. He's also very quick, as we've seen in a bunch of other videos, but he's also a little bit aggressive, so we'll see when he's make his overtake work. So it's the AlphaTauri versus the Red Bull right now. And behind him is Nuggetbox, also very quick driver. So I'm versus quicker drivers who also has fresher tires. I'm on 66% currently. So it's gonna be interesting. Emso 3/10 behind. Feels like he's gonna go for the move right here, doesn't it? It's lap 34, 2 laps to go only. Looking back, and he's right up on our gearbox. He is really looking for this overtake, but he's pushing me a little bit on the grass as he's going outside to his right, really putting me out of control. He's taking the position, but that wasn't the cleanest of moves. Maybe it wasn't illegal, but he can sweep out to my right, in my opinion, in another way. Now we have Nuggetbox really looking to overtake us, but we're putting our car in a good spot to not have that. I am net P3 still with Emso's penalties, but considering that I'm gonna get a penalty as well, most likely. Very unfortunate though. We aren't really sure where we're gonna be, what position we're gonna be in, but I of course really want to end the race and be on as good of a position as possible. Emso is just also drifting out into the future, but Nuggetbox now behind that I have to defend against. He's half a second behind now, 3/10, 2/10 behind. He's not gonna go make the move here into the first corner, so it's gonna be up towards turn 3, and we are once again not really getting the exit. These tires are screaming for help right now, and Nuggetbox is gonna make a go. I'm gonna take the inside line once again and try and hold him off for another lap. So we are doing it correctly, but on the throttle too early, so we're almost spinning out. Nuggetbox taking the position, Neresteye also following through. Neresteye making a move on Nuggetbox. I see a gap on the inside opening up, so I'm trying to get between, but Emso, no, Neresteye is just closing that door on us a little bit over the top as well, I think. But still within the rulebooks, I guess. I still had room despite of his touch, but I guess he saw what I was doing and just was having none of it. Back into P6 right now and at P4, but Emso is drifting away, so he might be out of his 3 seconds right now, so could be a net P5 as well. But then once again, Flying Finn ahead of us, super quick. We have Papa Ober now going for the move, and Psycho again. Papa Ober on the inside line, but he's not going for it right here. Wisely done so, but he's fighting with Psycho now, which gives me a little bit of a breather as I can just swirl away. Papa Ober can't go for the move on me, so he's gonna have to defend against Psycho. They are a little bit on the inside, but it's not on for them to overtake me there. Neresteye is not really pulling away, stuck behind Nuggetbox on the last lap, looking like a P5 right now with Emso's penalties. But the Dynamite did inform me when I asked him that Emso is on a 6-second penalty and not a 3-second penalty. So right now I'm coming up into P4, which is my best position so far. It's likely that it's going to be knocked back a little bit. Might end up behind Psycho and Papa Ober, so I would be in a P8 eventually after the penalties, which would suck for me, obviously. But nonetheless, P4 on track, or P6 on track, P4 after penalties on track. My best race so far. So GG Noel with the most silly celebration once again. Almost embarrassed to put him up here, but he's a fellow Swedish guy. I should give him appreciations. Dynamite retired. I'm in P4 for now, and really solid race. Next race is gonna be in Japan in Suzuka track. Gonna be a lovely track to drive. Not too comfortable around there, but it's an amazing racetrack. That's everything from me, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. I will see you on Sunday. Have a nice day and goodbye.